Hey guys, it's Chris. If you got a Transalp and you thought you had a chain guide, think again. I might have been fooled too, actually. Full disclosure, this looks like a chain guide, but it's just a tiny piece of plastic. So that needs to be changed out if you're gonna do any off-roading whatsoever. Unless you're gonna use it as strictly as a street bike, then I guess you don't need a chain guide. I get that you're keeping the price down, but you need to swap that out. I'm gonna show you how. All right, so today I grabbed myself a Acerbis chain guide. There's other chain guides that are very similar. It's basically a huge chunk of plastic with some fasteners. That's a pretty solid chain guide, kind of more befitting an off-road bike. So there's a tiny bit of assembly here just because of how tight these two bolts are together and how big this chain guide is. This is going to be great for both impact protection and to keep that chain from slopping around. Last thing you want to do is hit a large rock and have the back end of the bike move. If your chain is a little loose, it would be devastating to have the chain come off, and usually there's damage ensues. So this is worthwhile investment. It's not a big investment, and it's just going to be a few minutes to get it installed. First up, I'm going to get this mock chain guide out of the way. 5mm Allen key. All right, so that's just a piece of plastic. Very clever, but not really helpful. All right, so a little bit of assembly before we can mount this up. There's basically four kind of wood screw looking things. Those are going to be for this bottom piece after we get it dropped over the chain. So that'll be the last thing that we do. For the moment, we're gonna want this bracket. This bracket is what's going to get screwed to the existing mounts. So up front, there's that aluminum spacer. We're gonna wanna put the bracket on top, and just for reference, these holes kind of face forward if you're trying to figure out which way is upside down or right side up. Also, this is a little triangulated back here, so make sure it goes in that way. With the long bolt with a washer on the back and a nylock nut, and that's 8mm on the front and 10 on the back. Leave it a little loose until I get the rest of it done. And then there's this kind of machined aluminum piece that drops in here and provides the threads for the next screw that we're going to put in. And it's kind of snug, and you just kind of squeeze it in. And then this one is going to thread right in there, but I'm going to put a little Loctite on that because there's no lock nut on the back. Now that this one's tight, I'm going to tighten this. Okay, so now we're ready to drop it over the chain and locate it on the bracket. And the screws that hold it already have thread lock on them, so you just need to tighten them right up. So these are T20 Torx head screws, so we'll come in from the bottom. And because it's easy to strip, you gotta be super careful not to over tighten. So I'm just looking at the gap here, and when the gap disappears, then I figure I'm tight enough. I'm not looking to cinch it because it's really they're big threads and they're going into the plastic. And if I strip them, there's not a good way to replace it. So I'd say be super gentle with that, but do look at it from both sides and make sure there's not an obvious gap that hasn't been squeezed. Because as you can see, give you kind of a really good close-up here, that gap should be minimal. There's almost no gap whatsoever. And when you get started, there's quite a bit of like an 1/8 of an inch gap. So if it looks like this, you're in good shape. All right guys, so that's it for the install, super quick. Definitely a must do if you're taking the bike off-road. Hopefully now you know what you're up against and this was a little bit helpful. If it was, smash the like, subscribe to follow along because there's still a bunch of things we need to do to the Transalp to make it truly versatile, off-road, on-road, cross-country, to work and back, corner store, the whole deal. It's a great bike. I want to make the most of it. So stick around, join us again. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.